What is going on, guys? Welcome back. In today's video we're going to learn how to build a simple to-do list application in Flask. So let us get right into it. Alright, so for this video today we're obviously going to need to have Flask installed on our system, and because of that we're going to start by opening up a command line and we're going to type pip install Flask. And once we have Flask installed, we can just create a new Python file, a simple new Python file, which is going to be our Flask application. So we don't need to set up some fancy project like in Django. We can just start with a simple Python file, which we're going to call app.py. And then we're going to import a couple of things. We're going to say from Flask import Flask with a capital F. This is going to be the application itself. We're going to also import render templates so that we can work with HTML files. We're going to import requests so that we can access the post request data and also the form data from the HTML file. We're going to also import redirect so that we can redirect to different endpoints, and we're going to also import URL4, which allows us to get the URLs for the respective endpoints dynamically. We don't have to always specify them manually by looking at the endpoint, saying, okay, it's /add/ID or something. We can just say, give me the URL for this respective endpoint, and it will do that for us. Then we're going to create this application by saying app equals Flask with a capital F. We're going to provide here __name __, and we're going to say that the template folder that we want to use is going to be equal to templates. And this is where our HTML files will be located. So we're going to create a new directory here, templates, and we're going to create a simple index HTML file here. We're going to say neural 9 to do app or something like that. And then we're going to create a simple heading, hello world, so that we can just render this basic file. And then what we want to do is we want to define a basic endpoint. So let's say we have @app, which is our application up here. So we can use this decorator here to define routes. We can say that the route / is going to just lead to the function index, and the index function is just going to render the index template. So we're going to say index HTML, and this is automatically going to know that it's the index HTML inside of templates. And then all we need to do when we have the endpoints that we want to have is we need to say if __name __equals, and then __main __. If that is the case, app.run with debug equals true. And then I can open up this link here, and we can see we get hello world here at the root endpoint, at the index endpoint. So that's now just a basic Flask application. We want to, of course, turn this into a to-do list application. So we're going to start by creating an empty list of to-dos, and one to-do will always be, will always have the structure of being a dictionary where we have the to-do key, and then we have some name here, whatever. And then we're going to also have another field which is going to be done, and it's going to be either true or false. And this is going to be one to-do in the to-do list. Maybe we should call it to-dos in plural. The to-dos list will have multiple of those dictionaries. So what we want to do first here is when we render the index template, we want to pass the to-do list. So we're going to say here to-dos equals to-dos so that we can pass them to the index file, so that when we are at the index HTML file, we can render those, so we can display those. And this is this can be done quite easily. Instead of having this hello world here, let me change this here to to-dos. And then we're going to say here we want to have an unordered list, so a UL. And in here we want to say, since this is the Jinja templating engine, we use these percentage signs. So we say basically %, and then like that. For to-do in to-dos, then end for. We can just get a list element, and the list element is going to just be the name of the to-do. Like that. And now if I have something like to-do, sample to-do, done, false, I think this should already be displayed. There you go. Now, of course, we don't want to just display them. We want to have a link where we can go to that to-do. We want to be able to delete it, to edit it, to check it off and stuff like that. But this is the first step, displaying your to-dos. So next what we want to do, let's focus first on the Python code and then on the whole implementation in the HTML files. We're going to also have different endpoints for adding to-dos, for editing to-dos, for checking off to-dos, and for deleting to-dos. So we're going to say here def, or actually first of all app.route. The route is going to be /add. The only methods that we're going to accept here are the post method. And we're going to say here def add to-do is going to be whatever we get from that respective HTML file. So we're going to have a form there, and we're going to get to-do from that form. We're going to say to-dos append, and we want to append to that to-do list now this task. Let's call this task, not to-do. So let's change this here as well to task. The task is going to be the to-do, and done is going to be always to false when we create a new one. And then we just want to redirect to index. And how do we do that? We don't just provide /, we say URL_for index. So if we change now this route to something else, like this is also going to redirect to the proper URL automatically. So that's for the add function or for the add endpoint. Then we're going to say def check, or maybe let's do edit first. Edit, we want to have an index. Now index not in terms of this index, but index in terms of to do. So we're going to just say here index. And what we want to do here now is we want to say the to do that we want to edit is going to be to do's index. And then we're going to say if the request method is equal to post, what we want to do is we want to say that the to-do task is going to be equal to whatever we have in the form. And we're going to redirect again to index. So basically it's the same like creating a new one, just that we're changing an existing one. Otherwise, we're just going to say return render template. And we're going to have another template here, which we're going to call edit HTML. So we're going to say edit HTML is going to be the template. And what we pass here is the to-do. And the index is going to be the index. Now, don't be confused about all this form stuff and all this rendering template stuff. We don't have the HTML code yet. We're going to add it. I'm just preparing this Python code first, so then we can focus on the HTML only. But all this code already assumes that we have working HTML files. So I'm going to explain that here again once we're done. Here we, of course, need to add a route again. So app route is going to be edit or /edit. And, of course, we also want to have the index. So we're going to say int : index. And we support two methods. The methods we support are going to be get and post. And I think that's basically it. So if we send a get request to that endpoint, we're going to be able to edit this to do. And otherwise, if we post already, so this HTML file is going to post on the same endpoint. In this case, we'll want to change the information about that to do or of that to do. Then what we want to have is we want to have the check function also with an index here. We're going to just say to do's, add this particular index. Done is going to be equal to whatever it is not right now. So we're going to just negate it to be able to also uncheck again. So to do's index done. And then we're going to just redirect again to index. That's quite simple. And finally, we want to also have a delete, or first of all, let me add a route here. App.route is going to be /check/int::index, like this. And then finally, we want to have a delete index function here, where we're going to just say to-dos index will be deleted. We're going to return redirect URL for index again. And the route is going to be delete, and again, int::index. There you go. So that's basically it for the Python code. We're now going to adjust the HTML code so that it's compatible. And for that, we're going to start just with the index. So what do we want to have here? We want to have basically all these. We want to have all these to-dos displayed, so we want to have them listed. We want to also be able to change them, we want to be able to delete them, and we want to be able to add a new to-do to the list. So what we're going to do here in the HTML file is we're going to say that we want to have this unordered list still, but with some more information, with some links that we can click, and then we also want to have a form down below. And maybe we're going to start with this one, and the form is going to send an action. The action is going to be, we're going to use here the Jinja templating engine again. We're going to say URL for add, and the method is going to be equal to post. So in this form, we're going to now say input type is going to be equal to text, and we're going to say name is going to be equal to to-do. And then we want to have a simple button. Type is going to be submit. We don't need a name, we don't need a value. We're just going to say here add to do. And this basically gets to the URL endpoint, or to the add endpoint here. We're taking from the form the to do field, which is this one. So we take the content of this to do field here, and what we do with it is we just create a new to do. So that should already work. Let's check that out. So first of all, why don't I see the... I know why. Because we're still assuming that this is to do, but it's actually task. So let's reload here. There you go. And now let's just add some to-dos. All right, so the adding part already works. Now we need to also be able to change it, to check it off, and to delete it. So this part is done. In the list now, for each element, we don't want to just display the name or the task itself. We also want to display options. So first of all, we want to be able to say that the to-do is done or not. So we want to say there is a to-do or there is a checkbox indicating whether this to-do or whether this task was already done or not. So we're going to start here with an input of type checkbox, and it's going to have the name done. And basically, we're going to add here now an if statement. If to-do done, if that is the case, then we're going to close this if here. Now, for some reason, it doesn't recognize that I'm working with Flask. Is there a simple way to mark this as a Flask file? I'm sure there is, but I don't know it. So we're just going to ignore the syntax highlighting here. We're going to say if it's done. We're going to say checked. Then we're going to say end if. We don't need an else branch here. And on change, we're going to say this form submit. Now, I'm not sure if that's going to work. I think it should work. But this basically means now we have a checkbox indicating now whether the task is completed or not, checked or not, and by clicking it, we should be able to... Oh, I'm running the HTML file, sorry. By clicking on it, we should be able to also change this state. So let's see, does it work? Oh, actually seems to work. No, it doesn't seem to work. Okay, I'm not sure if we're going to do it like that or we're just going to add a check button. Let me think about this here. But let's continue with the other things. We're going to say here now that we want to have this span that is just going to say inside of the span, we're going to say if the to-do is done. So if it's checked, basically. What we want to do is we want to say that there is a style text decoration is going to be set to line through. So basically it's going to be crossed through, where we're going to just strike through. And we're going to say here and if, otherwise we're not going to have that. And in this span we just want to have the name, and we're going to then close the span again. So let me just zoom out a little bit so you can see the full code. And then we're going to have two simple buttons. The first one is going to be href targeting URL for edit. And we're going to say here that the index is going to be loop index 0. So the current index of this loop here. Yeah, and then we close this off again, and I think that should be it for the edit part. So we just say here now edit, and then we can copy this, and it should be equivalent for delete, just with a different endpoint and with a different text. I think that's it for the index file. Let me just see if it somewhat works. So let's just open this up here. And let's see if I can just, I should be able to delete it already, right? I think so. Yeah, there you go. So let's add a couple of to-dos here. I'm not sure if we can check them off or not. It doesn't seem to submit. Maybe I need to change that. But I can edit. Edit doesn't work yet because we didn't properly implement the HTML file yet. But I think, I'm not sure, no, the checking doesn't work. So we need to think about the checking here. But the deletion works. So when I delete, they're all gone. But maybe we're going to just implement this at the edit file. So let's just see if that makes sense. So let's go to the edit HTML file. It's going to be quite simple. All we're going to have is we're going to have a simple form. The action of that form obviously is going to be targeting the same endpoint. So we're going to say URL for edit, but this time with a post. We're going to pass the index, which is going to be just the index, and the method is going to be post. And in this form, we want to have a simple input type text. The name is going to be to do. The value is going to be empty. We're going to set it to the task. So we're going to say to do task, which is the task name. And then we want to say button type submit, save. That's that. Let's see if, again, I'm running the HTML file here. Let's see if that works. So when we have a problem, templating error. Why is that? Because I need to close that URL for here. Let's see if that works now. There you go. I can change the name. All right, so this seems to work. Now let me see why this doesn't work with the checkbox. So what are we doing here actually? We're saying, actually we're not checking anything here. We're not targeting the check endpoint. I think that's a problem. We have the check endpoint, but we don't use it. So basically it would make just more sense to add a button, check, which is going to then do the same thing as edit and delete. So we're going to do that, I think. So we're going to just say here, check, and we're going to say, I think that should already be enough, if I'm not mistaken. There you go. If I load this now, yeah. Okay, this works. And maybe we can disable this here so that we cannot manually click it by saying disabled. Let's see. I cannot click it, but I can check, and then it's going to be checked. There you go. So we can add a bunch of to-dos. I can check off a couple of them. I can reload the page. They're still checked. I can delete them. I can edit them. There you go. This is how you build a simple to-do list application using Flask. So that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and hope you learned something. If so, let me know by hitting the like button and leaving a comment in the comment section down below. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell to not miss a single future video for free. Other than that, thank you much for watching. See you in the next video, and bye.